Let's fix the turntable on the record player. So welcome back to the American Garage. Today we're going to take the turntable out of the record player and fix it. So now the first thing that we've got to do is we've got to remove the turntable unit from the record player, and I've got my instructions right here. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect all of the wires connecting to the turntable. Alright, so first thing I got to do is disconnect all the wires underneath, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take pictures of everything as I disconnect it. Alright, now let me show you what I've unplugged so far. I got these two wires and I took a picture of them so I remember where they go, and those fall over here, and it looks like they go to these external inputs. Then there was these three wires, this one, and this one, were all twisted together right here, and all these three were plugged up in here, and I took a picture of those as well. Now I've got this group of wires coming down here, and it's got a little twist tie, and we're going to undo this twist tie. And now this goes into the amplifier. So this is where the power, I think, for the record player comes from the amplifier. And then it unplugs with this plug right here. So now I got that undone. So now I got this undone, and this undone. Now we've got these two little C-clips underneath here. There's one here and there's one over here. So we're going to grab these things out of there. Slot in the back side. Oh yeah. And there that is. Now I bought a bunch of cups, so I'm going to put these in a cup. You know, this is a simple way to keep yourself organized, is to buy some cheap plastic disposable cups, you know, like you would have at parties. It costs $2. Keep all your parts organized. There's the other one. Okay, now that should be everything. I should be able to lift the turntable out from the top. Well, that was a little easier than I expected. Now what we'll do is we'll set the record player aside so we can work just on the turntable. Now I have the turntable out of the record player, so I'm going to start taking it apart using my instructions here that Gary sent us. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to need to do is to put it in a cradle, which I have this box for a cradle, and pull the rubber O-ring holding the platter in place. So I'm going to pull this out of the way. Now we got to get the platter out, and I see that there's a little C-clip here as well. So I'm going to take that out. So put that right there. Here comes the platter. Okay. Remove the platter. Take your first picture. This way we know exactly what everything looks like at every stage. Remove the idler wheel and washers and the C washer and the spring washer from the cam gear stud. That is all of this stuff right here. You know, these things were built to be foolproof, so we're going to find out for sure. There it comes. There's that. A little washer. And there's that. And we're going to put these in this same cup right here. Right, I think we're ready. Flip the unit over. Okay. Remove the ejector bracket assembly and push rod. Alright, it took me a minute, but using my service manual, I figured out what the ejector bracket assembly was. That's this little thing right here. Okay, and it's got a screw that holds it on. So, I'm going to get my screwdriver and we're going to take it off. So, according to the exploded view, this is the ejector bracket assembly right here. That's the screw that holds it on. Well, I guess that's just the bracket. Alright. This deserves its own little cup. Alright. Remove the ejector bracket assembly and push rod. Okay. Now that comes out. Well, let's flip it over. Oh. The bearings for the turntable are right here. Oh, and I heard something drop out on the bottom. We'll put those in there as well. And what looks like a single ball bearing. Okay. Alright everybody, so I jumped off camera to try to figure out what was going on, and I did a lot of the disassembly, so let me just catch you up to speed. So I took the turntable off, and the little wheel that makes it actually spin, it's got this rubber piece on the outside, and it's not looking too good. We may get a new one of those. And then I disassembled the changer mechanism on the bottom. So I had flipped it over, and you can see how most of the mechanism is now out. And that's on all my little cups here on the tabletop. So I'm going to bring the camera a little closer so you can see what is going on. So here is the mechanism upside down. Now, the first thing that I want to point out is that you'll notice that there's this brown stuff on everything. And that's probably from cigarettes over the years. And it's made this like oily, gnarly stuff. And I've already cleaned some of it off, but you see what it does to my rag here. So we're cleaning all this stuff off as we go. And that is also making everything sticky, and then cat hair from the last 50 years and whatever dust got in there, and that's everywhere. So I have to clean everything up. But let's talk about what was wrong with the mechanism. So right here, this is the changer mechanism. And it's got this slide that goes back and forth. Actually goes the other way, sorry. Goes this way. And then the thing that makes it slide back and forth is we've got this gear that turns, and it's got this little lever that actually moves the slide mechanism. Okay? And then there are various little levers in here, and this is one of them, that go back and forth and do different things, like limit how far the needle can go over to the edge or whatever. But then we came to this little shaft here, and this is the retard arm. Okay, this little arm right here, and underneath it or with it, there's this little spring. It's a little tiny spring. And now that spring is supposed to sit on top of this thing just like that and do its job. Well, most of it had worked its way underneath and it was all jammed up. So that was the first problem, and that's the reject lever. So that's what makes the mechanism start and starts doing its thing. Okay? And the reject lever is what also brings the records, drops the records. So the reject is to reject to the next record, or it's to start the record. So, so that little lever is kind of important, and that little spring was all jammed up. Now, this little reject lever sits on top of here. And this goes to the tone arm, or the needle, you know, the arm with the needle. And, well, they call it the tone arm. I'm having to learn all the names of all this stuff as I go. And there are these two levers right here that do different things. And both of these right here were stuck together. So they were moving, they weren't moving separately, they were just moving together. And they were just, the oil and the grease and the dirt and all the nicotine or whatever it was in there, it just glued them together. So I was able to loosen these two, and now the reject lever works much better than it did before. And it's got this little lever over here, okay, that works. So basically everything was just stuck together. So now what we're going to do, we've got everything disassembled, so now I'm going to clean everything, I'm going to grease and oil everything, and put it back together. I just want to give you a before shot of what it looks like, and we'll use some isopropyl alcohol. And let me just show you a little bit real quick. See all that muck? And that's just underneath right there. So see what the color should really look like? Alright, I'm going to proceed on with this, and I'll show you what it looks like when I get it all clean. Alright, so this is how it looks afterwards. It cleaned up really nice, and that's actually shiny. And you can see my logo real nice, and it's got a nice shine to it. I thought this piece was ruined and I might have to order another, but it looks beautiful. Everything seems to have a shine to it where there was no shine before at all. Now I'll use my guide to show me where to lubricate everything. So I'll continue cleaning everything. I've got the top side done. I'll do the bottom side and clean all the moving parts, and then we'll lubricate everything according to the guide. Then we'll put it back together. Okay, here we are with one of the mechanisms, the main gear, and it has a couple levers on here. And notice that's not moving at all, right? So this is the kind of problem that we have with this kind of device. So all these things have been seized up over time and filled with all kinds of gunk. So this is what we're cleaning out so that this will actually work. Okay, now it's time for us to put some grease on, as they gave us on our lubrication chart. For starters, we'll put it right here. And they say to put it sparingly. Also, around the base here and around here. And that's all the lubrication for that piece. And we'll grease the slide assembly. And some grease here. They're very specific on where they want us to put it. Alright, the only thing left will be on the outsides of here. Alright then, all the pieces are greased and we are ready for reassembly. With all the pieces cleaned and greased, it's time for us to put it back together. So I'm starting with the pieces that I took off last. And we'll put it back together in reverse order. I'm also going to be using my diagrams. Make sure I get it right. If I remember right, that's the little reject arm. Okay. It's got a small spring that goes in first. And then a big spring goes on top. And the C-clip holds it together. Those C-clips can be a little tough, so you gotta be careful. Don't let them go flying off. There we go. So I'm putting things back together in reverse order, just like it tells me. This little arm in there. We got this little arm in there. That one there. Let's keep going. Now it's time to put this main sprocket, this main gear in. It has grease just in special places. Okay. We'll have to flip it over to put the washer and the C-clip on. But I have to be careful. As I flip it over, I don't want to let go of that, or else it'll just fall back out. And there it goes. And now we'll just continue. Alright, so now we've got the main gear in. We've got these little levers here in. Another little empty cup. There were so many pieces on this thing that were just seized up and caked up with stuff that now that we got it cleaned out, I think we should have pretty good luck with it. I think I got it all, but there's this little lever that's supposed to be, it's not in its place. This little lever down there. So I gotta come over like this. There. Now we got it. It's a bit of a puzzle. So, let me explain a little bit, because I had to concentrate. So this whole slide piece, this has got it's got this shiny piece down here, and it's got these two little levers, one going each way, and they've got to go between this little piece here. So I had to get those in there. So I got it in there, and now we just gotta finish adjusting it. go. It's falling into place. And we'll put the screws in. Three screws hold this sliding piece in. Just be careful not to cross thread your screws, especially with such small ones. Now this little springy thing, it's like a paper clip almost. It goes over this shaft here in the middle. There we go. That's in place. Now, I need to see what else we have. We've got these pieces. So it looks like I have everything on the bottom back together. So let's flip it over. Let's put the turntable back on. Now, we do have to put the main bearings, turntable bearings, back in their place. And they do need some grease, I almost forgot. So they got us a washer. And the bearings. And now, before we put the turntable on, let's put this piece back in. This is our idler pulley, and it's got some different washers, one on each side. We've got to make sure we get these in the correct place. Make sure you put it the right way. Get gravity to work for us. So let's get the tone arm out of the way. There we go. On goes the turntable. And when that one little C-clip that I had sitting on the edge, here it is. And that holds the turntable back on. There. Alright everybody, we're ready to try putting it back in the record player and see if it works. Alright everyone, so I'm ready to drop the turntable back in to the record player. There we go. So now I've got to put the C-clips on from the bottom with their little washers that hold the turntable back in its place. I'll put those in real quick, and then we'll hook up the wires, and then we'll plug it in, turn it on, see what happens. Now that we've done all that, let's see the results of our work. Alright, it turns on okay. Hit the reject. And nothing. Alright, I'm going to pick up the tone arm. Try it again. Nothing yet. Alright, I'm going to take the tone arm and pull it all the way to the middle. Nothing. Alright, let's see if it plays. I need a place to go anywhere. Well, it's playing, but we can't say much more for it than that. Okay, so we're part of the way there, but we're not all the way there. So in our next episode, let me take it back apart and see if we can figure out what's wrong with the mechanism. So before, it wouldn't play the record at all. At least it'll play the record now. But something's not engaging, and the mechanism isn't doing what it should be doing as far as lifting the needle and bringing it over to the record and all of that. Alright, so now I know what we've got to do for the next step. We have to troubleshoot what's wrong with the mechanism. So next time on the American Garage, we will troubleshoot the record changer mechanism and see if we can make it work properly.
Thanks for watching the American Garage. If you liked this video, hit the like button and leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe.